Ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to the Spen and Nick Show. It's episode 15. We're going to take a slightly different approach today in that we're kind of continuing from last week's episode, which is all about you, Nick. And we're going to carry on a little bit more talking about you, but you're going to mainly dominate this show, I think, because it's something particularly that frustrates you, that we need to get out there and we need to help people with, right? And last week we were talking about innovation consultancy and what you do for a job. I can see we've got some interesting coloured things going on here. Tell us what's going to happen.
Well, we're talking about the tools of the trade. It's sticky notes.
Got it.
You know, and it's something. This is a topic that's close to my heart.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's something that everyone knows what they are, but no one knows how to use effectively as a tool for in the innovation process.
Got it.
And so
effectively being the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because everybody's seen kind of sticky notes being up on a wall, and there's biro on them, and you can't read it from far away. People are writing in doctor's handwriting, so you haven't got a clue what it says when you come back to it. And it's just a mess.
Got it.
So what I want to share this week are 6 tips to help you really improve and be more effective in the way that you use sticky notes.
This is just one of those episodes that you need to listen to and understand once, and the value you're going to get from it is going to take your sticky note creations into a new dimension.
Absolutely.
Let's get on with it. Let's get to what are the tips?
What are the tips? Okay. Tip number 1, I've got one in my hand, although it's not a Sharpie brand, but have a Sharpie.
You want a Sharpie?
Yeah. Have you got one?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't leave home without some form of Sharpie and a sticky note. That's what we're talking about.
There
Beautiful.
we go.
Beautiful.
Sharpies in a couple of different colours there. I know you can get lots of colours, but I know you're a particular fan of one colour in.
Black, I think, is the key colour because then people can see it, you know.
On any sticky note as well.
Absolutely.
You've got to get that good high contrast.
Definitely.
Yeah. Is that one of your tips or is that another one?
That's one of the tips that I'm going to come
you got
to.
It already.
So
jumping ahead.
I think you're jumping ahead to number 4.
Okay.
But that's good. We'll come to that.
Perfect.
So definitely use a Sharpie because there's a difference between using a sticky note to write yourself a reminder or a task list of things that you need to work on versus we're having a strategy workshop and we're using sticky notes to kind of share ideas.
Okay.
In that context, you need to be able to read what people have written. So therefore, having a clear Sharpie, black, you can be stood, if you're going to put the sticky notes up on a wall, you can be stood away from the wall and then you can see them properly.
I guess the thing to remember here, for me, that I'm taking from this, and again, apologies if it's one of your others, is that the purpose of you writing on that sticky note is not the writing of it. It's the conversation that can happen as a result of you writing it and seeing having other people make sure that they understand what it is that you're conveying on that note as well.
Definitely.
So writing it is a really important thing, and sometimes we use sticky notes to get the thing out of our head, but actually a part of this, particularly in these group facilitated sessions, is about the conversations that happens afterwards.
And also this is kind of an artifact as well of the strategy session that's happened.
Got it.
And if that artifact is unintelligible, then it's
useless.
It's useless, yeah.
Completely ineffective.
So
cool.
that leads on actually nicely to, if you have writing that is impossible to read, write in capitals.
Yeah.
That's point 2.
Yeah, okay. I write in capitals with everything that I do because my writing is bad. So I would say even more, like always write in capitals, even if your handwriting's... Is that not good?
No.
Actually, because some people really have a beautiful...
If you've got beautiful handwriting, or even if you've just got writing that's easy to read, the brain processes joined up writing or lowercase writing faster than capitals.
Okay.
So if you'll notice this, if you see like a title or something and it's in capitals versus it's written in lowercase or with just the normal capital writing for the first letter, your brain can process it much faster.
Yeah.
But so that's where there's a trade-off.
Right, and actually Liam, the designer here at Founders Factory, he talks about this quite often when I'm chatting to him about designs that I'm working on. He always kind of goes, okay, I get why you've got the capitals, but actually it's harder to read. Think about using less capitalization and just going for normal case, which makes a lot of sense.
Definitely, and so that's the trade-off that we're working on. So if you've got bad writing, write in capitals. If you write clearly, then that's fine, write in lowercase.
Awesome, so that's 1, 2.
Yeah,
We're going to smash this episode really.
Yeah, I think it should be quite
really
a fast
quick.
one.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Number 3 is use images, use pictures. And I think this kind of relates on to the last point again really well,
Yeah.
which is this idea that mind is able to process, or the brain is able to process images faster than words.
Yes.
And if you've just got one sticky note with some words on as you're writing it, of course it makes sense immediately because you read it and there's no problem.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you have lots of sticky notes all up on a wall. Imagine 100 sticky notes up on a wall.
Yeah.
And they've all got loads of words on.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to process that and understand it. And that gets back to this idea of getting overwhelmed by all those sticky notes and all those concepts.
Yeah, okay. So if there's too much information, it's really hard to kind of pass that information, understand it, process it, figure out what it's actually trying to say. And I guess this is the reason that we have icons in websites, in apps, because it's instantly recognizing what those features are and what that thing is that you want to do. And it's kind of shortcutting the cognitive load and the cycle that you need in order to understand what to do next. It's a very similar thing when you've got, like you say, hundreds of sticky notes, and we've seen them. Really hard to kind of make sense of that, and it takes a while to make sense of it. So make it as simple as possible. It's that KISS idea, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And it's a similar kind of thing, right?
Because a massive cheat code for helping people understand a large amount of information quickly is having an image, because an image is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. And a prototype is worth 1,000 images. Let's talk about that another time.
No, that's a really good point. And going back to the idea of the image, it's something to practice as well, because picking you're essentially drawing an icon of what you've just written.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of an art getting the right icon that gives the right impression. Because
yes,
it's good enough sometimes can be misleading. You want exactly the right image to match what you're saying.
That's a hard thing to do. It's
a
probably
hard
worth
thing.
pausing on this for a moment. I think there's a couple of things that are going through my head at the moment. There's a barrier for people based on their perception of their own creativity and their own flair for drawing, possibly. So people are going to be more reluctant to do that. But actually the positives about doing it's that kind of distilling something down to one or two words is great. Distilling something down to one quick, simple sketch, way better. When you're trying to think of a concept or get across a complex situation, trying to explain it to a 6-year-old, or imagine you're explaining it to a 6-year-old, is a really good thing, because you're crystallizing your thoughts in order to get it into a simple terminology. But actually taking that even further, not just a couple of words, but just one image, means that you're going to get straight to the point really, really quickly.
And that's why
great
I
idea.
think I'm going to say a word that I've never said before that might not be a word. You need to emojify your icon. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
No, but that is what you're doing.
Yeah.
If whatever it is on that sticky note that you've written, look at your icons or your emojis and what kind of one is most relevant, and then just draw a very basic kind of stickman version of that emoji, and then you're probably onto a winner with that sticky note.
Amazing. I'm going to go and see if that domain exists. Emojify.
Sweet. So number 4, which relates back to like what we were talking about with the first point, which is using different color sticky notes.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, I've got plenty of different colors.
Yeah.
But particularly, I find it helpful having a kind of a green color, a yellow neutral color, and a pink or kind of like reddy color.
Okay.
Because that can kind of denote neutral is kind of neutral.
Yeah.
But then with the yellow, but the green can say this is maybe a positive or an outcome, and the pink could be maybe a negative, like a pain. So therefore, that's one way of showing information with the colors, which I think can be really helpful. Equally, if you're mapping out a business model, for example, and then you're trying to show 2 product types or 2 customer types, using a different sticky note color can be really helpful.
Got it. So using those colors for almost categorizing the things that you're trying to convey, to make it, again, easier to understand and to be able to quickly get the insights that you need to pull out of it. And then making sure, of course, as we talked about, getting that high contrast, so always using black, and black works on all of these.
Definitely.
Colours, yeah.
And I'd say another example of that is I start my workshops asking each individual in the group to write down what their goal is.
Yeah.
Because then I can go at the end of the workshop, well, what was your goal? Have we achieved it? If we haven't, what do we need to do right now to make sure that you do achieve it?
Nice. Just a quick one as well. We were talking about colours there, but you also have a couple of different sizes. Do you use, is that a, should I focus on that?
Let's focus on that, but let's come back to it. So with the colours, so with the goals, I get each individual to write it on a different coloured sticky note. So therefore, when we put it up somewhere, you can see clearly who wrote, each one is for a different person.
Got it, okay.
And also, what I'll do is say the next step might be, what are the team's goals? I can use one colour for everybody on that.
Yeah.
And then I've got kind of like, well, what are the, maybe like if we're doing an exercise around values, I could use a different colour sticky note. Everyone uses the same colour for that. So when we've got it mapped on the walls, you've got like clearly like a nice circle with everyone's different coloured sticky note for the goal, for the individual goals. We've got like team goals, which will have like, you know, a blue sticky note with everyone using that, and then we've got yellow sticky notes for doing the values, and then we've got, if we're doing a value proposition canvas or a business model canvas, we've got the 3 different sets. And so the different colours around the room help you organise and structure the day, and you can see it visually as an artifact at the end of it, which I think is really, really powerful.
Really powerful. Great. Lovely.
So yeah, your question around the different sizes.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of points. There's quite a few useful points here, but I think ones that I want to pull out is that if you have small canvases, like it's on A4 or A3, having the smaller size sticky notes are really, really helpful compared to the kind of like maybe the square ones.
Yeah. And they constrain you that bit more. So even more important maybe to get in the emojifying or iconifying idea behind like drawing rather than words.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what I like, one major use for the yellow ones is the how might we's.
Yes.
So if you're doing a how might we exercise, trying to kind of structure a problem into an opportunity that you can kind of work around.
Yeah.
Writing them out on here can be really helpful because by the nature of how might we's, there are more words that need to be put on the sticky note.
Yeah.
So having that space on this can be cool.
Okay, and just a refresher, what's a how might we?
So a how might we is a great way of taking information maybe from an interview and structuring and taking notes from that interview.
Okay.
So in a structured way, because what you're doing is you're immediately taking information from the interview, and then on the sticky note you will write W ...
Yeah.
And then
so how might we? Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you say, for example, I'm interviewing you, and we're talking about a new product or a new candle type product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm interviewing you about like how many times, like what are some of the challenges that you face around candles?
Yeah.
And you're like, the problem is that you've got a certain type of holder, and you find it difficult to find the right candle.
Right.
I could right candle to fit that.
Yeah.
I could say, how might we create a universal size candle? You know.
Nice.
So I've just turned that into an opportunity, but I've noted down what you said.
Yeah.
But instead of just noting down exactly what you said, I've taken it but tried to change it into an opportunity, into a focused opportunity that then we can try and work towards and work around and turn into kind of like an objective.
And it's not saying you're going to do this, like how can we, because that implies you'll have to do it. How might we implies we might do it, we might not do. It's less kind of concrete, but it's giving you that open question. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. Next, I think we're up to 5 or 6.
This is number 5 now.
Okay.
Sweet. This is a corker of a one. It's really difficult when you put sticky notes up on the wall, but they're kind of bent. So
they always curl.
They curl, the massive curl. So you try and stick them up, and then they're curling up like that on the wall.
Yeah,
and then you can't see. Nightmare.
Yeah.
Imagine if you've got loads of sticky notes like that.
And they're all curling, and then because they curl, maybe the weight kind of pulls them off the wall slightly, and you get them falling off.
Because they're not fully stuck against the wall, because some of it's curling up.
Yeah. So okay, I need to know this.
What you do is, this is a game changer. This is an absolute game changer. What you must do to avoid that is you kind of peel it off from the side.
Yeah.
And like you
if you're listening to this one, this is an absolute like classic where you need to go to YouTube and watch.
It is.
So if you're listening on the podcast, and I'm looking at people, even though the people that need to hear this message are listening and not watching, go to YouTube and watch this bit.
Yeah. So what you would do is you just peel it from the top near the gluey part, and then peel that away, and then you have a nice straight sticky note.
Look at that, and it's not curling up. It's
going
to stick on the wall much better.
It's going to be beautiful.
That's a game changer.
That's a game changer. It's a massive game changer.
Oh man, I feel like 3M or someone like that needs to do, some big campaign about this, because I think it will mean that they'll sell a lot more too.
Maybe. I feel like it could be like an instruction pack.
Yeah.
They should be doing.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6 is vital. 1 idea per sticky note.
Yes.
You don't want to have, again, if you're doing a task list, you're working individually and you've got it by your computer, fine. Put all the words on it you want, and ideas on it that you want. But in a group setting, you want one idea per sticky note.
Okay.
And why do you do that, you might ask, is that...
I wasn't going to.
But it's great because it enables you to move sticky notes around.
Yeah.
So if you had sticky notes in one bucket,
yeah,
you can then simply take it off the wall and put it on another bucket.
Yeah, okay. Great.
Super simple.
Super simple.
Can I give a bonus
yeah.
tip? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think the key thing now in this world that we're living in, where we need to be thinking more sustainably, because there's an argument to say, well, maybe we shouldn't be using sticky notes at all.
Yeah. And there's digital versions that you can use.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But there's something around having a physical object that you can touch, move around, and get it out of your head that I think is more effective than doing it digitally.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're working with a digital team, then I think that is outweighed, or using the digital version outweighs using the physical one.
Making sure you've got the right people in the room, even if it's a virtual room, is a higher priority than having... Yeah, okay, got
Definitely,
it. Definitely,
not everyone in the room, but then doing it physically.
Yeah.
So there are examples where it's not the case.
Yeah.
But so that's the reason why I think still using sticky notes has a lot of value.
Yeah.
However, we should always recycle our sticky notes.
Yes.
So number 7 is, I think once you're finished, recycle your sticky notes.
It.
And ideally buy the recycled sticky notes to begin with.
Perfect. That's amazing. I'm sure everyone got loads of value. I definitely got some value out of that. I've been reluctant to do the drawing bit, even though we've talked about it before. So I need to go ahead and just get maybe that's a confidence thing. Maybe it's just about doing it. And
it's a practice thing. And also, I think what it is in the moment, you know that drawing that, I think it's because you cop out. In the moment, you're like, I haven't got time for this. Also, you think, I can't think of an icon right now.
Yeah.
And so it's easier just to move on without it.
Yeah.
And I think this really is another point, which could be point 8. Don't be scared to redraw your sticky note to make it clearer.
Excellent.
So if you've written down an idea and then an icon idea has come up, but you've actually got no space left, do it again.
Yeah.
It's going to make a big difference when it's on the wall against all the other sticky notes.
And I think this isn't I don't think an extra point, but it's just to add some reinforcement to the point that you don't need a lot of words for these stuff. You need to go drawings if you can, or just 1 or 2 single words, because actually, again, the conversation and the explanation that you're going to have as a group is going to fuel a whole load of other ideas and bouncing around different things. So that's a big part of this as well, right? It's not, the end game is not having a wall full of sticky notes. It's everything that comes out of that, and all the conversation and the great stuff that comes out of that, right? That can also be further enhanced with great facilitation, like what we talked about in the last episode.
Exactly. And just to give you a bit more confidence, as well, because you mentioned about the confidence point, is a picture only has to be 30% accurate for it to be understood. So this is the stat that I was trying to draw upon earlier.
Right.
Your drawing can be terrible, but as long as it's 30% kind of understandable, that's good enough for people to go, I get it.
You've got to draw the right thing, but it doesn't matter how good that right thing is.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
I think let's wrap it.
Yeah, hopefully that was helpful for everyone.
I think so. I think we've kept it really quick as well, so people can get that real value real quickly from it. And I hope everyone uses sticky notes in a much more effective way in the future.
Yeah, and if you've got any of your own tips, put them in the comments below, because we'd love to hear them. Because I'm not saying that everything I'm saying is perfect for everyone in all situations. So if you've got some of your own examples, we'd love to hear them.
Absolutely, we'd love that. Cool, let's do it. That's become the thing.
I think that's our thing.
It's the thing. It's always been your thing.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing. And remember, the right thing.
It's always the right thing.
It's always the right thing.